Right. Hello, everybody. Aaron here with Euros. How you doing, Euros?
Very well. Good evening, everybody.
Okay, so today we are talking about funding and finance for dental practices. Now, what an exciting subject, Euros. Yes?
For some, yes. For some, no.
Okay, well, in our domain and what we work in this field, we're dealing with dentists of all shapes and sizes. It's a popular subject, and things are always changing in this sector. So we've been doing financing and funding for dental practices for about 10 years, okay, as part of our Samara business. We've dealt with all shapes and sizes, from startups to single purchases to group purchases to refinances to everything. So Euros, what's the current appetite like in the dental sector in, say, now, late 2025?
Very good appetite, I can say. I think the banks are stepping up quite a lot, changing their policies to pretty much reflect the market as well. So you see a lot of competition and therefore much better deals for everybody who's looking into buying their first, second, third practice.
Yeah, so we've spoke to a bank today. We've spoken to another bank a couple of weeks ago, kind of newer entrants into this sector. They all see dentistry as an exciting sector. Let's see how long they last. Okay, well, that'll be the true test. But as you said, I think even the existing banks in this sector are very favourable, and they're trying to compete with each other. So if you're borrowing money in the dental sector, it's a real opportunity to get a good deal if you go through a broker like ourselves, correct? Yeah?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. Okay. So now, someone who wants to buy a practice, typical loan to value for goodwill freehold, what can we get at the moment?
So at the moment, what we're usually looking at 90% for goodwill, 100% for freehold. I've seen some lenders as well pushing a little bit on the actual goodwill aspect, matching it 100% as well. So there are some conditions, of course, that it's a case-by-case situation, but there's more and more opportunities to get 100% LTV on both, essentially, which is
So
really
basically,
good.
so 100% on goodwill, 100% on freehold is possible for the right deal for the right individual, correct? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So that's damn rare in any other sector, to be honest with you. Okay. Me running a chartered accountancy firm, I can guarantee I wouldn't get that deal. It's just dentists. Lucky I married a dentist, I guess. Okay. So in terms of then the term, what kind of years, how many years is this all usually over?
On average, for goodwill, we're looking at 15 years, and for freehold, we're looking 20 to 25 years. But if you are buying both at the same time, they can probably do 20 to 25 years as well. But if you are buying goodwill and it's 15 years, make sure that the lease is 15 years. If it's anything below that, the banks will not even look at it.
Yeah. And the lease has to be inside the Landlords and Tenants Act. That's an imperative point. Otherwise, if it's outside of it, the banks won't even touch it. Okay. Now, rates, what are we talking about?
Base rate at the moment is 4%. It's been going down over the last 6 months, which is quite good for anybody buying at the moment. And over base, we're looking between 1.5 to 2.5%. On average, we're looking between 2.
Okay, so around 2, so around 6-ish, maybe.
Six,
Okay,
yes.
so not too bad. Again, if that base rate does go down, then obviously it's always advantageous.
Always
Okay.
a good point for refinance.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So now, as we said, there are quite a few lenders in this sector. Okay, how does someone go about choosing a lender?
Essentially, this is where we come in place. We are they're competitive between each other. We know all of them. We go in there, send your application, essentially talk to all of them, and they will compete between each other to give you the best possible deal. We come back, relay that information, whatever is most preferential to you, that's the one you choose.
Yeah, but sometimes the best rate isn't necessarily the best deal, correct?
That's absolutely true. Yeah, you have something called a early fee. So you want to repay it as soon as possible, which is quite common with dentistry because you make a little bit better margins than your average industry. So a lot of people want to pay it back as soon as possible, and the banks, some of them still impose a fee for that. So sometimes choosing one that doesn't have that is more preferential to you.
So that's why getting a cross-market understanding of what's available is imperative, and that's kind of what we do, correct? So we have the relationships with all these lenders. They will entertain all our kind of clients once we've vetted the client, and then they'll say yay, nay, and if it's a yay, then they'll say these are the terms they'll offer. Correct? Yeah.
Correct. And it's
Okay.
very important, I have to say as well, that we are dealing directly with the healthcare department. Some other brokers might not be in those relationships, and that's where we stand out as well.
Yeah, and I think where we stand out differently also as a firm of chartered accountants for dentists, okay, per se, we have an insight on so many financial factors, not just the funding, but the tax side, the accounting side, management information, all that type of stuff. So we can really help package a deal very strongly for a client and then ultimately get the best terms out there. So, okay, so we've talked about a little bit about the loans for purchases. What about startups? Is there an appetite for that still?
A little bit limited. I have to say it's been increased over the last 6 months or so. The panel is a bit more limited than your average acquisitions.
Mm.
So it was increased by not to 500,000 now. So it's a lot more appetite than it was 6 months ago. But the loan to value is about 70% on average. And when we're talking about interest rates, they're between 4 to 5% above base. But what we always suggest after, no, in that case, 2 years later, when the business becomes profitable, turnover goes up, we can then reapply. So we refinance and get you a better deal because it's a proven business at that point.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. No. Good. Good. All right. And then what about I'm a dentist, and I've no idea. Okay, what I can afford. Where do I start? What do I do?
First, have a conversation with me. That's always a good start.
Okay.
But
He's a
overall,
lovely guy, by the way, everyone. So
I try. But overall, it's a lot of people think they can't afford a lot, but actually they can. As we said, 100% LTV comes with a lot of benefits, meaning that you don't have to have a lot of capital to actually start off a business. So on average situation, we will say 10%. So if you're buying £1 million goodwill, £100,000 in your pocket would be the right way to go, essentially. But don't forget, there's some other fees and valuations and solicitors you will have to involve in the deal. So always keep a little bit more money on the side as well. But
okay.
on average, not that much, honestly.
Okay. So you alluded to some other fees. So typically,
Mhm.
when you're buying a practice, what kind of other things are there that have to be
So
considered?
we have the bank arrangement fee. It's between 1.5% to 1.75% of the overall deal. Valuators, so they will give you a panel of 3, 4 to choose from. What I've seen, people just usually choose the cheapest one, which is about 2.5 thousand, but they range from 2.5 to 5,000. And then solicitors, again, depending on the complexity of the deal, on average about 3 to 5,000 pounds. If we're talking like DSOs and things like that, they can go up to like tens of thousands, but depends on the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. No, everything's different. And okay. All right. That's cool. Okay. So then, we've talked about this is all relating to acquisition or startup finance.
Mhm.
We also do something else called asset finance. So what's that, Euros?
So pretty much, you're an associate, a practice owner, and you want to buy a new microscope, you want a CBCT scanner, you want to pretty much buy any equipment to improve your daily workings. So if you can't afford that 30K, what we can step in is to essentially do asset finance. So it's a short-term loan, 5-7 years on average, and that's simple as that. The interest rates are not
Okay.
as beneficial, I'll be honest. It's about 9%, 8% overall, but it gives you a helping hand.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and it's another way of just looking at it. You might want to extend the remember that the term of the durable use of that asset you might buy might only be 5 years. So you only want the loan to be over 5 years, not over 25 years or some of 20 years, which if you had to do it with a big bank loan. So asset finance is quite an effective way to borrow money. Okay, so finally, I know we're going to keep this short today. Okay, in terms of Samara as brokers, what makes us different?
What makes us different? We are purely on the buyer side. I think that's quite a vital role, especially because you have a lot of brokers out there, to be honest, but a lot of them position themselves as the sellers at the same time. And I think you need to understand there's a conflict of interest when you're selling and buying on the same side. Essentially, they make their profit from selling it as high as possible, and they make their profit helping you purchase it. So we are purely on your side. So we will make sure that we help you throughout the whole deal, essentially. And we've been in the business for so long, seen a lot of these different cases, and we're just there from A to Z.
Yeah, and if I could reiterate your very valid point is that I don't think there's anyone else out there who acts as a buyer's advisor on these sales. We purely act for buyers. We don't deal with sales anymore. We did in the past, okay? We're actually merely acting as the buyer's advisors to get our buyers the best deal. So that means from evaluating the practice to helping you negotiate the price of the practice to helping you raise the finance to helping you doing the financial due diligence with our accounting team to then transitioning to ownership and then helping you run the practice better as well. So we're pretty unique in that space. Right, so speaking almost 11 minutes, we're going to keep it short and sharp. Any final points to add, Joris, today?
No, but please, any conversations, inquiry stages, anything, I'm always available. Quick Calendly link, I'm available on WhatsApp, telephone. I think in this modern day generation, everything is pretty much available, and nothing costs you to have this conversation. It's you want to be prepared, you want to be ready, and you want to be informed. And in today's day to day, that's very important.
Yeah, as Joris said, we're available. We have evening calls, we have WhatsApp, you name it, you can get hold of us. We're here to support you. We appreciate that buying a practice or starting up a practice is probably up there in terms of value in the same region of when you buy your first house or getting a house. So it's a big outlay, and you may not understand the mechanics. As a team, not just Joris, but myself, other people in the team, we have extensive experience in this. And as you can see from my grey hair, we know what to do, and most importantly, what not to do. Okay, so if you're in the market for buying, starting up, anything like that, make sure reach out to us, and also check out our website. There's tons of information on there about buying or starting up. We also run events such as our boot camps, which we've been doing for the last 20 years. With my wife Smita, who's a dentist. So we have experience kind of running through our blood. So don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Joris. Lovely to talk to you.
Pleasure as always.
That's fine. And we will catch up with you all next time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.